What's up, people? Welcome to another episode of Soul Food Sundays. Glad to have you back with me as we look into a message for the upcoming week. I hope that you guys have had a great week. My week has been pretty dope. I can't complain. At this point, I wouldn't if I could because it wouldn't do any good. But for this week that is coming up, we have a new moon on. Is it tomorrow? No, on the 15th. There's a new moon. I am not sure which constellation it is in, but I do know that it's on the 15th. So if there's something that you are interested in, you may want to take a look into that and see how it may be affecting you personally and your astrological chart or your energy. But today we are going to be using the Power of Love activation cards. I don't think I've used these for Soul Food Sunday in quite some time, if ever. I know I use them a lot personally, but I was drawn to them today because as we are moving into a new year, we want to make sure that our goals, our plans are in alignment with the power of love. Everything that we do needs to be from a place of love. And so I'm going to pull a message that will hopefully give us an idea collectively of where we need to be placing our focus for the new year. And even though the new year is a few weeks out, I wanted to go ahead and bring this message forward because this will be the last Soul Food Sundays for 2020. I am going to take a little break and resume in 2021 because your girl needs to re-up. To do this type of thing requires quite a bit of energy going out, and you always want to be mindful of connecting with things and people and experiences that replenish your energy when you do light work like this. And so, since I am using my gifts to bring forth a message for the collective, I am going to gift myself with a little time off to focus on making things a bit better, smoothing out some of the rough edges in terms of turquoise majesty growing, and just replenish myself a little bit. I am so proud of how things have unfolded. I am not in it for the numbers. I do this because it is what God told me to use my gifts to do. And so I started doing it in April, and I fought it tooth and nail at first because I don't want to be famous. I very much like my private life. However, more than anything, I do want to um, be a conduit of God's light and do the work that God has created me to do. And so, in the spirit of obedience, here we are, but also in the spirit of obedience, I'm gonna take a break. I will be doing an episode of co-creating for the month of December, so that will be coming forth, and it will be on tarot. We'll kind of go over like the history of tarot, what some of the cards mean, and things like that. Because in the upcoming year, I really want to do a segment called the Fool's Journey, which takes you through each of the major arcana cards of the tarot deck, and I think that would be really beneficial as we are moving into and through the new year. So with all of that being said, those are the things that you can look forward to, but for today we are going to get into the Power of Love activation cards. So Father God, Mother Earth, ancestors and spirit guides, we thank you first and foremost for all that you are and all that you bring forth. We thank you for empowering us. We thank you for protecting us. We thank you for guiding us and leading us to be more intuitive, to listen to our guts, to trust ourselves opposed to trusting anything outside of us, dear God. We thank you for your love and light and allowing us to embody that, and we just ask that you bring forth through me the best message for the highest good of all of those under the sound of my voice, dear God. What message do you have for us as we seek to embody the power of love moving into the new year? Amen. Let's see here. Man, on the last episode, I was talking about how cold I am, but now that I done got the furnace fixed, I'm hot as hell. I just cut the heat off, and now I'm the total opposite. Y'all ain't got to worry about me shaking like a stripper, but more so, I'm about to melt over here. Oh, Spirit, what message do you have for us as we move into the new year? Bam, that was quick. You know, sometimes I can be shuffling for 5 minutes. Satisfaction. You let the energy of love guide you to self-approval so that others no longer define who you are. That message is very much telling us that we need to focus on self-validation and being satisfied with what we have, opposed to comparing ourselves to others or allowing others to dictate to us what is acceptable and what is not acceptable about who we are. Like Cat Williams said, self-esteem is the esteem of your motherfucking self. Therefore, you should not put that responsibility or give that power to somebody else. That is all yours to choose to be, because we do have a choice to be satisfied with what we bring to the table, who we are, and how we show up. So the bottom card is virtue. You acknowledge your loving spiritual attributes that encourage others to grow. Each and every one of us, and this message so coincides, the two, satisfaction and virtue, coincides with one another, because each of us have a virtuous aspect of ourselves. We all have that ability to connect with the higher power. We all have gifts and abilities to express ourselves as such, as someone who is connected to a higher power. And we're all responsible for bringing our spiritual attributes to the collective table and doing our work and carrying our cross, so to speak. But if you're seeking approval from others, you're in an egoic state and not coming from a spirit-led state. Because when you let the spirit lead you, you know that you're going to do some things, say some things that are not necessarily going to be approved by others. And that shouldn't matter. You're not seeking their approval. If they're in alignment with what it is that you are bringing forth or trying to do, or your message, then they're not going to be your problem. They're not going to be the thorn in your side. And even though they're not in alignment, you just have to have compassion for where they are and leave them there. And let your light shine anyway. You have to show up as a virtuous being anyway. I know a lot of people speak about the Psalms 31 woman, or the virtuous woman, but I think, it's important that everybody understand that they have a responsibility to be virtuous, and that's also for men. You know what I'm saying? It's not just about being a virtuous woman. We are to be virtuous people, and that means being comfortable with who you are, accepting yourself for who you are, standing firm in who you are and what you bring to the table, and making your spiritual attributes and sharing that with others a priority. So on the top of the deck is forgiveness. You are now able to activate the power of love in order to release past hurts. That is so important as we move into a new year. You want to let that baggage go. If there are people whom you need to forgive but you haven't, you absolutely want to make that a priority, because in order to soar, you want to leave those bags where they are. Pack light, travel light. You can't soar to the highest of heights if you got all this stuff that needs to be forgiven weighing you down. You could move a little faster along your path if you don't have all of these things that need to be forgiven weighing you down. So you want to operate in love and compassion. You want to release those past hurts so that you can move forward freely into your virtuous self and be satisfied with who you are and what you bring to the table without someone else having to validate that for you, without you needing that pat on the back, that like on social media, that wink, that drop in your DM, that ego stroke. You don't need any of that to show up as your highest self. You don't need anyone to feed into your lower ego in order for your higher self to shine. And one of the things that is standing in the way of that for many of us is forgiveness. I know I, for one, am definitely working on identifying and releasing those things that no longer serve me. That is a constant practice in my life. And one of the things I like to do is like to make a list and then burn it. Pray about it, make that list, and burn it. So say if you have someone in your life who you need to forgive, an absentee parent, an old girlfriend, boyfriend, the little boy that stepped on your toe in the 3rd grade, and most importantly, yourself. There's a lot of things that not forgiving ourselves is holding us back from. You are human. We all make mistakes. A lot of those mistakes are actually were designed. You were set up to be in those situations and handle them the way that you did so that you could learn from them and take away the meat and leave the bones, so to speak. Take the lesson from it and leave the distraction and the weight of it behind and move forward into the newness that God has for you. Move forward into your virtue. Move forward into satisfaction and all of those things that are ours via it being our birthright. We have got to let some things go because otherwise it clouds our light. Our light can't shine if we are allowing all of these old things, all of this old baggage to cloud it. And it's easy to say that and then you walk away from hearing this and not know how to let it go. But I absolutely recommend prayer. I absolutely recommend meditation. I absolutely recommend affirmations. You can find affirmations all over the internet. Get you a deck of cards. They have affirmation card decks. They have oracle cards that come with affirmations. Get you an accountability partner. Keep somebody in your life that you can be open and honest with about the direction that you're trying to go forward in, and someone who can help to hold you accountable as you are seeking to forgive and move into a more virtuous state of being, and also to shed that limiting belief that your satisfaction comes from having other people to validate you. So I hope that this message found you all well, and that as you move into the new year, you focus on acknowledging your loving special attributes that encourage others to grow, the satisfaction of self-approval so that others no longer define who you are, because you can only live your best life if you're living the life that you consider to be best for you. Living your best life is not living the best life that others see for you, especially if that is not in alignment with what you want. And also, I pray that you all are moving into the new year in a spirit of forgiveness, and not only in that spirit of, but actually personifying forgiveness. Let these people off the hook. Let yourself off the hook. And if God is whom you are needing to forgive, because a lot of us, whether we want to admit it or not, we're angry with God for various reasons. And you need to let that go also. You definitely want to let that go, because everything that God does for us is for our highest good. And it is up to us to connect with how that resonates with us and how it is for our highest good. That's the lesson in it all. So I pray that this message is helpful to somebody. And I will be back soon, within the next week or so, with an episode of Co-Creating. But until then, peace.